between 13 and 14, you had those puppy love, those fun relationships. And then during that same time, more later on into the 14-year-old yourself, you met baby daddy.
Yes.
So would you mind taking us down that road?
Yeah. I met him when I was 13, and it was honeymoon stage, you know. It was, I fell pretty hard for the guy. I was 14 when we started that relationship, and he was the guy of my dreams, pretty much. And shortly after, I think 14 turning 15, I got pregnant.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit before we get to that point. So you were just saying that between 13 and 14, you had been in other relationships. Mm-hmm. So what was different about this guy that you made you describe him in that manner compared to the relationships before, where you said is, guy of your dreams, you fell hard in love with him? What was it about him that made him different from the ones before?
What he would tell me. Just told me everything that I wanted to hear and things that I needed to hear at that age. Mm-hmm. Made me feel special, made it feel like he was the one, because he was telling me all these things and making me feel these ways.
So looking back, the guys before, did they not tell you those things, or maybe didn't tell you as much?
No. It was, I think when baby daddy told me, it was more on a deeper level. The other relation, I was in junior high, it was just, it was, I don't think I was being told those things. No, mm-hmm. I can't remember. Mm-mm.
And how do you think he knew to say those things? I think it's real important for young women to know that, like, because some guys are a little bit more experienced than others. Do you think he was genuine when he was telling you those things, or do you think he was playing a game?
Thinking back, I think it was more the chase. I think it was the game. I don't think he was capable at that time to really feel what he was saying. He was older than me, so I'm sure I wasn't his first rodeo.
How much older?
He was 3.5 years older.
Okay, so you're 13 going on 14, he's 17 going on 18?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that would explain.
Yeah.
That would explain a lot.
A little bit.
Do you think that had a big part in your attraction to him because he was older as well? Did that play a big role?
Yeah, I liked that he was older. Yeah.
And what exactly did you like about him being older that made him more attractive?
I felt like he acted and carried himself a certain way, and I felt like he was a little bit more mature than the kids the guys that were my age. Mm-hmm. And so I got attracted to that. I was 14. I was like, oh, he's older.
Was it a status boost as well?
Yes.
To be able to say, well, I'm with an older guy?
Yeah, I was a freshman, he was a senior. I thought it was, I thought it was cool, let's be real.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right on that, and that's what I want to stress to the young women out there, that they may find that attractive, but just to be very aware that they could also be, falling under this guy's years and years of experience that he has, that now he's using on them just to get what they want.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what was happening with you and your relationship there? Was he strictly just getting what he wanted, or was there some part of him that did like you and have strong feelings for you?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think he did have those strong feelings. I think he just didn't know. He himself was repeating a cycle. Mm-hmm. So
All right. So you, looking back on it now, you're kind of thinking he's probably been through the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah. I do feel like he did care for me, but I also feel like he didn't know how to care for me in a sense. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. That he wanted to, he just didn't know how.
Yeah.
So, and then for him, it's like he gets to start over, especially when he's going with, I wouldn't say it's just because you're younger, you're less experienced, but in that case, he's probably searching for less experienced, young women when it came to relationships. This way, he gets to play his game each time, starting fresh, right?
Yes.
So, how long did the relationship go in that honeymoon period, that honeymoon stage you talked about, where it was all sunshines and rainbows, you guys were lovey-dovey, loved each other? When did you start, what were the kind of the first few signs that you seen that it wasn't exactly what you had thought it may be?
He told me the right things, he did everything right, but it was other people like, oh, well, he was, here and he was there and he's with this person, and it was more other people telling me. I want to say it was like a year. I mean, people were telling me within that year, but it was just like, I'd go to him and be like, no, babe, you're the only one, so I was just like, oh, they're just haters. But yeah, the honeymoon stage was about a year.
And when you said you had people telling you he was here, he was there, did that mean he was out and he wasn't supposed to be and he was just lying to you about being out, or were there things he was doing while he was out in those places? I don't remember us saying like you can't go to that place. It was early in a relationship. But I do remember like there was times where I knew he was at a party, but I wasn't at the party, and then that's when I would hear like, oh, well, he was with her at the party. And he would tell me he was at the party, so it wasn't like he was lying that he wasn't there, but it was just the things that were happening while he was there. Okay, so the main things that were bothering you wasn't hearing that he was out, it was what he was doing while he was out.
Yes.
And did it have to do with any behaviors like drugs, drinking that bother you, or was it strictly just about seeing him, other people seeing him with
it was just
other women? And when you heard that, you said you had no problem confronting him about it?
No.
At that time, when you were confronting him, was there any like fear to do it or nervousness? Or you're like, hey, that's my love. I can go talk to him about anything and he's going to be honest with me?
No, it was more like I went up to him just to ask, just to get the question over with, because he wouldn't have done that. Oh, you know what? Jane Doe told me this, and it wasn't like, did you do it? It was like, oh, she told me this, and then like it would be like, she's crazy or whatnot. It wasn't like me like, well, I heard this and I heard that, like what the fuck, It wasn't. I didn't approach it that way because, oh no, he loves me. He wouldn't do
so
that.
So how long did that go on for? And how many times did you hear it?
How many? That went on since day one. I mean, until the end. But obviously, as things happen and things progress, like, it just, I don't know. I started obviously believing it.
Because he started slipping up in certain ways, or just because so many people can't be lying about it or wouldn't be lying about it?
I think all of it, and then the things that he would tell me would slowly kind of go away, and it wasn't as intense, and you just feel it. You feel it. So yeah.
Especially Santa Barbara being such a small town, there's really no way to be out and about and have secrets if you're kind of putting them out there.
Yeah.
And did that affect your friendships that you may have had? Like, because I'm sure a lot of friends were coming to you about this, right? Trying to warn you about this guy. Hey, he's no good, or
I had like a couple close friends, but either he was smart to not do it in front of them, or I don't know. I think he was. I mean, we hung around the same circle, so I don't think he ever did it in front of them. It was more people that were like acquaintances to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it made it less believable at that time. But yeah, as it progressed, the more and more, and I think it was so many different acquaintances that it was, come on.
So what ended up happening from that when you finally said, hey, did you just say enough is enough and dump him and move on, or what exactly happened from the relationship after you said this has to be true?
I was already in deep by that time. By the time I kind of figured it out, years have gone by.
Mm-hmm. And did you make up your mind that, oh, I'm going to try to work it out with him? After you believe that, okay, this guy's cheating on me, and he's been cheating on me since the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? Was it, I need to leave this guy because he's no good for me? Or was it, I need to make it work? I mean, at this time, you're what, 14, 15, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to put a timeline on like how long it's...
Well, whatever the time, but what was your mindset, at least when it got to that point then? Because we could even say it was between 14 and 16, right?
Right. Repeat the question because I'm trying to think of so much.
What was your mindset after you accepted that, okay, this guy's been cheating on me since day one?
Oh yeah, we would go through many breakups, and it was always him begging, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it again. And
going back to saying the things that you wanted to hear?
Yeah. Saying, and him acting that same way that got me getting all up into him,
Mm-hmm.
All in love.
And at that time, did you see that pattern and just choose to ignore it? Or did you not even really see that pattern? You were too in it? I
was young. I didn't know that there was a pattern. I didn't know that it was how people say like, oh, just repeating the cycle. I had no idea what that meant. All I knew was I broke up with this guy and I love him and he wants me back and he tells me all these things all over again.
He means it this time?
He means it. And he's just pouring his heart and soul into it and I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back.
So let's really touch base on that because I want young ladies to know, do you feel he was being genuine in those moments, where he's coming to tears and he's crying, or do you think it was all an act, or do you think it was both?
It was both. It's like that saying where you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's times where he was like, oh shit, this time she's really gonna leave,
Mm-hmm.
And then once he had, like the cycle goes, like once he knew he had me, that was in deep, he'd do it again, like it was just over and over and over.
And what's during the cycle you guys were in, is that when you ended up finding out you were pregnant with his child?
It happened like this cycle happened throughout. It wasn't like I was listening, like I was hearing this every week, every weekend. It was like sporadic, By the time I got pregnant, that's when that's when I started hearing it. I didn't really hear it that much before I got pregnant. It was more when I was pregnant.
What age was that?
I was 15. I had just turned 15 the month I got pregnant.
So do you think that had a big thing to do with it, where you said you didn't really notice it before, but I keep hearing you talk about where he knows he had you, and then the relationship would start going downhill? So the fact that he had you pregnant now, is that why you think it took such a big leap into being a negative relationship? Because now he had you and you weren't going to go anywhere?
Yeah, like when we were talking about it going back and forth, and it just repeating, that was included. Like I was pregnant, had his kid, and you know, all those life stuff happened. So yeah, the more, I mean, I got pregnant, and then yeah, it would just, he probably, oh, she has my kid, she's pregnant.
So
she ain't going nowhere.
At 15, you're pregnant for the first time with his child. What's your mindset at that time with regards to him and your relationship? Is like, cool, this is gonna make everything right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm pregnant now. Like we're having a baby. Things are gonna be
one
different.
Happy family.
Yeah, white picket fence, dog in the yard, yeah. I was 15.
And then he said, during that time, back and forth relationship, same cycle. When did it start to get really bad?
As far as like the verbal and emotional.
You've said that that's kind of been happening the whole time.
Yeah.
But when did it turn physical?
It turned physical when I was 18. I had moved out of town to go to beauty school, and I had really bad separation anxiety with my kid. So he didn't move with me. So one weekend I came and I was ready to go. He asked me all weekend, like, can you just leave him here? Like, I really want to spend the week with them until next week and you can pick him up. And I was like, oh no, like, okay, I'll try. And so that time came when I was packing up my car and I was just like, I can't leave him. Like, I have to take my son with me. I just can't. I couldn't. Like, it just hurt me. And so he yelled at me, told me, like, you told me, like, you can leave him here, like, and all of a sudden, like, in a blink of an eye, like, I just remember him being on top of me and just, like, as if I was, like just throwing bows. Like, I was scared. I didn't, that was the first time.
That he had you on the ground on your back and he was mounted on top of you?
That he ever hit me, that he ever forgot. He never even pulled my hair, never slapped me, never pushed me until that moment. So
it went from verbal, emotional, and then, like you said, in a blink of an eye, one day it turned physical when there were no signs of that ever happening before?
Yeah, no signs. There was nothing. And this was 3 years into the relationship.
And growing up, you had been in fights, through school, through junior high. So it's not like you were new to fists coming at you. But what was the major difference with it being somebody you love and the father of your child on top of that?
It was, I couldn't even piece together what was happening. In that moment, he had a look in his face, I remember, that, like, I'd never seen before, and I was scared. I thought I was gonna die. I just said, okay, and I remember him getting up and just kind of, like, having, like, oh shit, what the fuck did I just do? And he just kind of got up and kind of walked back. Then I grabbed my kid and, like, ran to the car, locked myself in, and I was just so scared. Like, I was shaking, I couldn't drive, so it was just like, I couldn't even put together what had happened. It was just, no thought was in my head yet. It took me, like days later where I was like, holy shit, like, what am I gonna do? Like, after I was able to calm down, I just left. I went back to Palm Springs and tried to put together my thoughts, and at the same time he's calling me crying and begging me to come back, like like we're, I think, both trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. So yeah, it wasn't like that instant I knew, like, no, it was, I had no idea what to do. I had no idea how to feel.
And then when he's calling you, crying, come back, are you having those same feelings again, just like he would do it any other time before? Like, okay, well, this time is going to be different. He never did this before, so it's new to him. He knows he really fucked up, so now he's going to change. He realizes that he needs to change. Was that what was going through your mind?
I definitely wasn't thinking, like, I was trying to also understand, like, what was going through his head. Like, oh, maybe he thought I was trying to take his kid away, like, trying to, like, make all these excuses for him. But when he begged me back, I was trying to understand. I was genuinely trying to make it like, okay, like, well, then where do we go from now? Like, I was still scared to be around him. Like, I didn't want to go into town that next weekend. So I was still trying to figure out if that was the last time.
I want to jump forward real quick to where your mindset is now.
Okay.
Looking back on something you just touched base with was that you were trying to make sense of what you may have done wrong in order to make him act that way. Mm-hmm. Where do you think you got that from? Why would you think, looking back, that you would even have thought that way? That it must have been something you did to provoke it.
I think it goes back to what I would see as a child. You know, like, I hate to be as cliche, but it's repeating the cycle. My parents went through that. My mom went through that with my father. So it was kind of like, it wasn't a norm in a sense. Like, it wasn't something completely shocking where I'd never seen it before in my life. But I remember what my mom would say and what my mom had to go through, and I guess looking back, that's exactly what I did.
So yeah, because you grew up seeing it, it was kind of just like, well, that's what a relationship is.
Not necessarily what a relationship is, but it was. It wasn't impossible.
Like it happens?
Like it happens, yeah. Yeah.
So what could you say to, a 15-year-old, 16-year-old female in your position? She may be in that position right now, and her parents, she grew up watching her parents, be abused or be abusive to each other. What advice can you give those young women about who have seen it before and are now experiencing with their relationships? After everything you've learned and where you are at today, what's some advice you could give them on?
That's a hard one. I mean, it's to just tell someone, oh, this is how your life is supposed to be. It's kind of hard to just, but it's, you deserve, it's like, you deserve more. It's hard to like really like give advice to someone, especially if it's someone that's going through it.
Okay, well, what advice would you give yourself?
That even though it seems impossible right now, moving on is going to be like the best thing for you. And it happens, and it's better on the other side.
That's good. Just believe it, right?
Yeah.
You got in a shitty situation here, at least attempt to move on, and what's the worst that could happen from that? So this is between 18 and 20 roughly, that the first time that this happened.
Yeah, it was.
But it
18.
wasn't the last.
No. After that, it just. I don't remember really like what happened the next time after the first time, but it was kind of like a norm thing. Like it started being a normal thing.
For less serious.
For way less. Like I didn't freaking fold the laundry, slap, fucking bloody nose, and like throwing a towel at me. Don't be getting it on my fucking carpet, kind of stuff. Like it just got to that point.
And do you start going down lower and lower self-esteem with yourself? And
yeah, because it wasn't just physical abuse, it was emotionally. He would tell me things that like, no one's gonna want you, like I barely even want you. And this is a guy that I thought I loved, is bothering my child and telling me all this, like brainwashing me in a sense and making me believe it, like you have no body, look at you, like just, you know, stuff like that, that just broke me down to where I felt like I can't be with anybody else. I mean, where am I gonna go? Like I can't tell anybody about this if I leave him. Like my parents are gonna know, my brothers are gonna know, like my family's gonna know, like I can't do it. So I just stayed, like, okay, so he hurts me, he's not killing me.
And what was the big deciding factor for you to say, because let's say you did believe no one would ever want you other than this guy who barely wants you. Well, what's stopping you from just saying, okay, well, I'd rather be alone than not with this guy?
Like, how did I get there?
No, why did you, even if you believe that nobody else was going to want you, what made you say, okay, I'm going to stay in this relationship then, even though this stuff is happening, rather than just being alone then?
It was a number of things. It was, yeah, I didn't want to be alone. I really, like, deep down inside, really wanted him to change, and maybe this is a phase. And I wanted my son to have a mom and a dad. You know, it was just a number of things running through my head. I had made up all these excuses of why I couldn't leave.
And it kind of sounds like what the biggest factor is which I think a lot of people in bad relationships stick with it because they'd rather deal with that than be alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a scary thought. But it's a true one, and it's happening a lot.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, would you be open to telling a couple more stories of when the abuse got real bad? I just think it's important for you know, the young women to hear it.
It was more like, there wasn't like weapons involved. It was more like pinning and throwing blows. It was times where there was this one time where he was driving my car, and I don't know what it was that upset him, but he got pissed. So he started driving the car a little bit faster, hit me really freaking hard, and then unbuckled me. He put on the brake and like really hard, and I slammed my head into the windshield, and it actually it broke. And he got out of the car was still rolling. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, that was one of the bad moments.
And then from that time, was that one of the pivoting moments where you said, okay, enough is enough? Or did it repeat the cycle and you stay together a while longer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what happened right after that, but yeah, it pretty much repeated. Like, I just couldn't leave. Now that I think of it, like, what an idiot, you know, like, fucking leave. But back in my head, like, it just was so hard. Because, yeah, like, those were fucking fucked up moments. But there was also, like, a side that I would get that I was like, those are the moments I want. You know? And, like, when he at that time, he never touched my kid. He never hit him. He never yelled at him. He never spanked him. He was good to him. So I stayed for those moments. And, like, when we would all go somewhere, he was a good dad. So it was like, those were the moments that, like, kept me, like, going.
He seemed like he was a good, if not good, at least decent father.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I mean, we know whether you have a good mother or a good father, if the parents, and it doesn't even have to be an abusive relationship, but if they just have stopped loving each other, that it's not right to just try to keep a relationship together just for the children.
Yeah, but I was young. I thought that was, you know, I had no idea about that.
So I mean, you're not with them anymore, obviously.
No.
So.
But he loves me.
Just waiting for that phone call.
You have a collect call, bro.
So what was the moment then? What finally made, you know, young Crystal Cooper say, well, fuck this. This shit ain't gonna happen anymore.
Jiu Jitsu.
And to Jiu Jitsu?
Yeah. Yeah, when I started, I didn't plan. Okay, so I started so that I wouldn't get beat up anymore.
Did you actively look for something? Like, I'm tired of getting beat up, so I'm going to look for something to stop, or did it come to you?
No, I mean, Bill and Jeff, they were into jiu-jitsu since I can remember.
Bill and Jeff being, for the people that don't know you,
they're
that
my
may
brothers.
be listening to this.
Yes. So they started. I remember going to Paragon one time and picking up Bill, and Frangia was like, "Chris, get on the mat." And I was like, "Yeah, nah." You know, Frangia is the owner of Paragon. So I was just watching, and then, like, when he told me to get on and I got on the mat, I was like, oh, you know, like, I kind of liked it. But then looking, and, like, I could see people, like, mounted over people, and, like, just the way they were rolling and getting out, I was like, dude, I can fucking do that. I can get out of it, you know, like, I don't have to get hit anymore.
So you were a quick adopter of it? There was no hesitation? Because I know for a lot of people, including myself, it didn't entice me to go when I would see it.
Seeing it was my thought process, was my relationship. Actually doing it, that was harder. There's times where I'm like, fuck this shit, you know, but it was part of me that said that, and part of me like, oh, I'm gonna get it, you know, I'm gonna get it.
So Frangia tells you, hey, Crystal, get on the mat, because you were going there and watching training happening, picking up your brothers or just watching your brothers. And when he says, hey, come get on the mat, you're like, oh, no problem, Frangia, I'm right on it? Or did it take
I was like, no thanks. He's like, no, Crystal, get on the mat. Nope, I'm good.
Why no? Why would you tell him no if you're saying, you're thinking, hey, this will
thinking
probably be good for me, and then someone tells you to do it, and you're like, no.
No, I wasn't ready then, but I knew, like, I was just like, no, thank you, like, don't tell me what to do. You know, it was, I don't think I was ready, but I remember just watching and just knowing, like, okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
But at that time, no, I didn't want to go and hang out with my brother on the mat, you know, like, hurry up and come to the car, we're waiting for you, you know, like, I wasn't ready. And then Bill had told us to pick him up, and we go and pick him up, and it was actually not the end, it wasn't the end of class, it was just the beginning of class. So if you don't know Bill,
miscommunication,
that's Bill for you. So I ended up, after Frangia, he's really persuasive. So I got on there, and that's when it all started. I kept going back.
How soon, or not how soon, how long were you training before you ended up putting it into action, real life action?
So my baby daddy, in and out of jail since I met him. So when I had started training, he had got into jail. So it was probably, I was 20, I believe, and started training. And it was probably, he was in there for, I want to say a little over a year or about a year.
Straight this time?
Straight.
Mm-hmm. So you got a full year of training. Yep. And you're going in 2 times a week?
Oh, I was going in a lot. I was probably like 3 to 6, 3 to 5. I was doing a lot.
Taking full advantage of it.
Yeah.
Still, by the time he gets out of that prison term, you're a wipeout still at that time.
Yes.
Right? So what would you say is, from being a white belt to no experience, how much more power as a white belt do you have over somebody with no experience?
White to black belt. A lot.
So tell us the story of how you put that into actual action and prove that to yourself.
So as I'm training, I'm just kind of growing my skills and growing my mindset and what I'm not willing to take anymore. So I knew it was coming. Like, I knew one thing I'm gonna say and he's just gonna, it's back to the, like, I just at that point already knew. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was, we were at home, I said something, or I don't know what I did, and he kind of...
So back up a little bit. So he gets out.
He gets out.
You guys get right back together.
Yes.
Does he have an issue knowing you're training? Does he know you're training at this time?
Yes. So he doesn't like that I train with other men. While I was dating him, he really didn't want me going to my family's house or hanging out with friends. So, of course, training with a bunch of men wasn't something he wanted me to do. But he was locked up. I wouldn't talk about it, you know.
But I'm talking about when he's out. Now that you guys are back living together or being together.
I don't really remember him like saying don't go. But I know he didn't like it.
Okay.
I think at that time I was just like, well, I'll be back, or, you know, bye.
So you guys are living together.
We were living together, yes.
Okay, so continue. You're training still. He's living with you.
Mm-hmm. I said the wrong thing, and he kind of pushed me towards the wall. I was able to get away from that, and I was...
so he went to push you and kind of pin you up against the wall?
Pin me up against the wall, and I was able to get away from that. And he made the mistake of throwing me onto the bed, and he was going to kind of get on top of me. And that's where Jiu Jitsu works best. Mm-hmm. So I think he did get one on me, though. He did end up hitting me, but then I was able to armbar him, and he was just, all right, let go, let go. And then I kind of just kept yanking it a little bit. You know, I wasn't going to break it or go over, but I just wanted it to be a little sore. And then...
You wanted it to be memorable?
Very memorable, yes. And so that ended up him backing up, and then was able to get back on my feet, and then we went at it. Like, it was just... That pissed him off.
So he says, okay, enough, and you're nice enough to let go of that arm bar where you could have easily broke his arm if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You let him stand up, and then he wants to go at it again.
No, we went at it. And it was everything. It was like an MMA match.
So you're throwing blows as well as he's throwing blows. Mm-hmm. And is a thought going through your head, I need to get this to the ground so my training can kick in again?
It just ended up on the ground naturally. Mm-hmm. Just naturally ended up on the ground, and was able to do what I needed to do, and He was tired. He was done.
Was
He didn't go that many rounds, yeah. So after that.
So how did it end then? Just him saying, okay,
all
okay.
right. Yeah, it was all right. Like, you know, enough.
And you don't want
to
punish him a little bit more?
I think that was punishment. I think I did punish him.
So what, in that very moment, you take yourself back there and you sit and think in that very moment where you have now made this guy that has made your life a living hell and has caused you pain emotionally and physically, and now the tables have turned. What are the feelings that you're experiencing in that moment?
It kind of felt like I could breathe. Like, I remember that feeling. I remember getting up and I was like, I don't care whose blood is on me, but I felt good. Like, I'm done. Like, it felt good. It felt really good.
And did you say, pack up your shit and kick rocks? Or what happened?
I packed up my shit and I left. Packed up all my stuff. And I was done.
And not only would he see you differently now, but you seen yourself differently now?
Yeah.
Were you a different person? Can you say that?
Completely different person. I put a new standard on myself that I won't let some guy put me in a box anymore. And like put these labels on me and make me feel this way again. That I wasn't enough and that I'm this and I'm that. Like, I get to decide who I am. And that was my mindset after just training a little bit.
And what was your thoughts on Jiu Jitsu?
It's like...
in that moment as well.
As I was leaving, that, like, when they say Jiu Jitsu saved my life, like, I was like, oh, shut up. You know, like, nah, man, like, who knows? Like, it would have progressed and progressed and progressed, and my dumbass wouldn't have left. And so, no, it did. It changed my life for the good. It didn't just change my life because I'm alive, but it's done so much that I can't even put into words. I'm like, or we don't even have enough time.
So now you're one of the poster children?
Yes.
For Jiu Jitsu saved my life?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny now, but you know, like, what's sad is, like, it's happening. It's happening now, you know? So back then, it was like, what if, you know, like, another thing that I get told is, like, well, why didn't Bill and Jeff do anything? Is because I hit it so well. And that's the thing, is like, you probably have no idea what people are going through, or these young women, or who knows, men, you know, that are going through the same thing. Because they're never going to tell anybody. I barely told Bill like a year ago. You know, so.
Yeah, and, you know, it's like, fuck, like, what do you do? Because you tell your brother or you tell somebody for them to handle it for you, which is a great resource to have. But it's like, damn, you think back, and if you didn't get to do what you did in that moment, you very well could not be the Crystal you are today.
Yep. If Bill or Jeff would have handled it for me, I probably would have got myself back with him, or just, you know, but I didn't want to involve them. They were in the height of their career. I didn't want to be, it was my problem, you know? This
time you're a white belt, they are black belts, but many years over already at that time, right?
Yeah, they would have got like attempted murder. Who knows how far they would have done, you know? So no, I didn't want to let them know. They had no idea.
You're done for reals this time.
For real this time. For real this time.
What is kind of dating something you're even interested right then? Are you gonna take some time for yourself? What does the new and improved Crystal do after she finally conquered that?
Okay, so I was with my baby's dad from I was 14 till 21. So I was gonna be 21.
You enjoy it.
I enjoyed my time. I was not wanting a boyfriend. I did not. That was the last thing from my mind. So I partied. I was a party girl. My whole 21st birthday.
I was happy to be a part of that.
That's a different podcast.
It's a whole different one. So you're not looking to get tied down at that time?
No.
But you do end up getting in another relationship a couple years later, right?
A couple years later, I met him at the club.
At the club posted.
Posted up. And like, ooh, who's that?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I met a new one.
And at first, all good?
All good. All good.
And you already have in your mind, I'd never let that shit happen again.
Nope.
What's happened in the past ain't never gonna happen again.
Correct.
So this relationship's going all good. Walk us through, when do you start to see it turn?
So he was a different kind of honeymoon. I was older. He was nice. He had his shit together. He had his own. He was mature. He had his own. He had everything that I wanted in a man. Right. Mm-hmm. Pretty much what my baby daddy was lacking. This guy had, and he was good. He always, he did teach me things. He was older. He
You like them older guys, huh?
I do. So it was probably like 6 months into the relationship. He would anything. There was certain things that would just make him tick, and then there was like a 10-minute period where he would just say anything and everything to just hurt you, just to hurt your feelings. And after those few minutes, there'd be I wouldn't talk. At first I talked back, I'm like, fuck you,
Mm-hmm.
Back at you, fuck you. And then I started noticing what the fuck? Because after literally there would be a minute, 2 minute, and then he'd be like, hey babe, so I'm like, the fuck? So I was like, okay, this guy's bipolar, but it wouldn't be the whole, it'd have that episode, and then it'd be regular thing, it wouldn't be oh, fuck you, you bitch, and throughout the day, and it was just that episode, and then cool, and then whatever would take him off, cool, it was probably a year of that. I called it the demon. So it was pretty, whatever he would say, it would, to a point where it wouldn't, really hurt my feelings. But it was just, the demon would come out, I'd let him say whatever he needed to say, and then, 2 minutes later, oh, so what do you want to eat?
So what made you put up with that? After being in the relationship you were in, yeah, you didn't feel in danger, right? You never felt, really didn't feel in danger, you did?
No.
No?
No.
So what made you be well, this guy's just gonna fucking spew everything out, and then after he'll be fine, we'll be able to go on with our day?
Yeah.
What made you say, be alright with that?
I don't know, it wasn't that bad. To me, at that time, I was like, I have gotten worse. This guy is not hitting me. He's not he's fine. In other aspects, he was helping me, in different areas of my life. And I was like, that's definitely worth it. Okay, so he has an episode, that's his episode. That's not my episode. But yeah, after a while, I just, fuck, all right,
So it was just kind of well, these are the way we have our arguments, and everybody has them.
Yeah.
And compared to my last relationship, this is all
this
roses.
This is great, yeah.
All right, and you said 6 months good, and then a year of the demon, or is that a year total of the relationship?
It was a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So, did it start getting worse towards the end?
Yeah. So it would be when he would see a certain someone. That's when things would get a little bad. If this certain someone used to have I don't know.
This was a male or a female he would see?
It was a male.
A male, huh?
A tall, dark, sexy, handsome male.
Tall, dark, and handsome. All right, keep going.
When he would see that person, the demon would come out, but it came out a little bit. After a while, it came out a little bit worse.
Mm-hmm.
I get car sick really easily, so I either have to drive or I have to take the whatever pill.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows that. So he one day that person came up and we were gonna go somewhere and we were in the car. He unbuckled my seatbelt. He took me up to the APS and just started driving fast. And and he rolled down all the windows. I had just taken a shower, so I'm just like, yeah, it was just like, and he's a really good driver. Mm-hmm. So he knows how to do those like crazy turns.
Donuts?
Like those donuts.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so he'd do that, and then it's on APS, so it's scary, and like the road by itself, just driving normally would give me car sick. So we came to, he's like, you're fucking getting out of my car. And I was like, no, I'm not getting out of the car. Like, you're taking me home. Like, I'm not getting dropped off at APS. And so he finally ended up taking me home. And I got out like fucking sick, like throwing up, like it was, yeah. And then shortly after, you want to talk about that?
Shortly after that particular incident?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, then after that, he apologized, my bad, like, damn. And he kind of, it was like a joke. Like, he was like, dude, I can't believe I did that. Like, my bad. Like, babe, I'm so sorry. Like, kind of like laughing about it. And I was just like, yeah, that was some fucked up shit,
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I don't know, my mindset then was not like, because I didn't feel like he was a threat to me. Maybe for whatever mindset that I was in, I just didn't feel like he was a threat. So one time I pissed him off. Again, we were at his house, and he took those little scissors, those little manicure scissors,
mm-hmm.
and he kind of jabbed my stomach and stabbed me with it. And so I don't remember exactly what kind of arm drag I did, but I kind of grabbed his arm, kind of took him down, pinned him, and he couldn't get me off of him. I pinned him to where the demon was coming out, so he would say anything and everything, and he's like, get the fuck off me, like, are you a man or are you a woman, like, who the fuck are you, you're a man. I was like, hey dude, are you a man or are you a woman, because you can't get me off of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, at that time I wasn't like emotionally hurt, like I was just waiting for the demon to leave, and then he was calm, and then I got up, and then our relationship didn't last. I don't even think it lasted a week after I was done.
Well, it didn't get physical, but that one time.
Yeah.
Then.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think it was? Because I feel it's real important that we grow a stage in our lives, and then because we've got to that stage, sometimes we lose focus on its consistent growth that you got to do.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened with you to where you ended up back in a relationship with a guy that was going to attempt to cause you physical harm again?
Because he was so different than my baby's dad in a lot of ways. I was like, oh, he's not this person. He's not in a gang. He's not. He doesn't go to jail. He doesn't. He has different things going for him. So I figured he's different. But thinking back, he was pretty much the same, because he hung around the same kind of people. His core values were pretty much the same. He did, which was the lack of core values.
Mm-hmm.
The way they treat their parents says a lot about them, and the way those two treated their parents were the same. The way they treated their family was the same. The way they viewed women was the same. The way they treated their friends, everybody was the same. So essentially they were different, but yet they were the same. Mm-hmm. So because I only looked at comparing that one person to my baby's dad, I figured like, no, I'm not gonna, he's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, yes, I looked at, took the time to actually really compare like who I'm really I was attracting those bad boys.
Mm-hmm. And you said it didn't last very much longer after that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how long does it go till you get into another relationship?
How long was that? It was a few months. I didn't want it. I didn't want to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to. I knew that I really liked this person, but I didn't. I was fucking done. I was done. And so, this one particular person just kept going and come on, let's do dinner.
We'll call him like Prince Charming just for the sake of the story or something.
Sure, Prince Charming.
So Prince Charming comes, sweeps you off your feet, right?
He was persistent. Prince Charming is very persistent.
Very persistent, and so if anyone hasn't figured it out yet, Crystal's my love, and we've been together going on 7 years.
Yes, he's my Prince Charming.
So you did have your guard up for a while.
Yeah.
When we first got together. I know through your party stage, I had recently happened to just going through a divorce myself. So I was actually out partying a lot, and you and I had seen each other on multiple occasions. We got to know each other very well. And I think that's why you had said in the story a little earlier that when your boyfriend at the time had seen me around, it would set him off.
Mm-hmm.
So back to us, when we decided to, when I decided that I wanted you to be mine and that I was going to do whatever it took to make you mine, and you said, I finally got you to just give me one night. Let's go on a date, right?
Yes. We're not going to talk about that whole date, are we?
Well, it's got to be PG-13. So. But we keep moving forward from that point, right? But you do have your guard up for a while.
Yes. I would always tell you that I was damaged goods.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not ready.
And I was like, oh, that's just my type, bro.
I could fix you.
Now, because it's not always all good between us.
Yeah.
But there are times where, we go through our hard times. Do you feel it's a world of a difference, our hard times? Because there's some fucked up times that we've had, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the others, like what's the major difference with you and our relationship that we have, that you're willing to open up and say, hey, this one may be worth it, especially when you have all that baggage from before?
I think it's definitely was we've grown together, so like who I was then, if you were to date me then and want a date from me, like the 23, 24-year-old, it wouldn't last a day.
Mm-hmm.
But because we both learned, I feel like we both kind of grew in that area, but I feel like what is different is being able to communicate with you and being able to tell you, like, whether it's about my past, whether it's sex, whether it's different parts of my life, like we can have that communication without it turning into an argument or turning into a jealousy issue or turning into like something negative. It's more like when we talk and like we ask all these questions, we're learning about each other. So I feel like that's what's different is like we actually want to learn about each other and like learn who we are or learn who you are, and you want to learn who I am instead of trying to mold me into a person that you want me to be. And I think that's what a lot of times in the past relationships is I shouldn't be talking to other guys. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing that. This is who you should be. So I feel like with you, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit.
Yeah. And a lot of that comes from like when you're talking about if we would have went out back then, we wouldn't have lasted very long. I couldn't agree with you more, because yes, we have grown a lot together, but what attracted me to you to even say, hey, I want to make her mine, was because you did have that mindset now. You had that mindset of you wanted to do better. You know, you were going to school, you were always working, you were a hustler, you didn't want people to be taking care of you. Like it was the person that I had met that I've known had qualities that from your stories before you didn't have before.
Yeah.
So all those life experiences, you know, you did something with them. Not most people don't. They just kind of keep on going.
Yeah.
And I think people have a hard time, you know, putting that link together. But that's why the Solid Foundation program that we're starting, the things that we want to teach, it helps them put those links together.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that have brought us even closer is that we train together. And the lessons that come from it. So I know you're working on a 6-week program for women right now, right?
Yes.
Jiu Jitsu is that what you're going to be teaching? Is just Jiu Jitsu? Is there other things going on, or just Jiu Jitsu?
No, it's a 6-week program, and it's an intro to Jiu Jitsu. So it's a beginner's Jiu Jitsu for women.
And
3 days a week.
What are the age ranges?
Any age range. It's going to be happening in the evening. It's Mondays and Wednesday evenings, so there is no age limit. I would prefer teens, because there's different ways to teach children jiu-jitsu, so definitely teens and up.
Okay, teens and up. 3 days a week?
3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mondays and Wednesdays, 7:30, and Saturdays we're still working on it, but I'm pretty sure that it's 11.
And how long will the classes be?
About an hour.
About an hour. And what do you guys have a price, a ballpark price? Have you guys worked that out yet? I know you're still working on the details of.
Yeah,
everything.
we're still working on the details on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be somewhere between 200 to 400 in that realm.
Yes.
Now, for those women out there who might say, "Well, that's expensive," even though they've heard what it's done for you.
Yeah.
What can you say to kind of help them that to look at it as more of an investment rather than just a bill that you have to pay?
It is. I mean, it's just like if you go to the gym, you're not just going to use their weights. It's who you're becoming along the way. And jiu-jitsu is not like any other gym. I've gone to different gyms. I've done different stuff, but it teaches you so much more. And this, like, there's memes everywhere that says, oh, you can get your hair done for $120, or how much was that bar bill, and like all these things. If you were to just cut out that $5 coffee a day, like, you're able to do it, you know, but you can afford what you want to afford, you know. So I mean, if you find the value in it, then you'll be able, it's nothing.
And what if somebody comes and dedicates themselves to your class that you'll be putting on to your program, your 6-week program, if they give it their effort and they come in with the mindset of I want to learn what Crystal's teaching, what can they look forward to walking away with after that 6-week program?
After that 6-week program, you're going to walk away with a set of skills that will help empower you. You can walk, I feel like the confidence that it builds is mind-blowing. It can, it's kind of hard to really like narrow it down, but in a 6-week program, it may not seem like much, but it'll make a huge difference, because then you'll know what jiu-jitsu really is and how you'll feel doing it. And it's a self-defense. It really is. You can go to a self-defense seminar, and if something happens, then you're not going to be like, oh shit, what did I remember? As that guy or girl is choking you, you're not going to be like, oh, what did I learn that last month or 2 months ago? Mm-hmm. You know, it's muscle memory. It's something that you need to learn. You need your body to do over and over and over, because when that happens to you, your mind is blank. Like, you're just doing muscle memory, what your body's regularly used to doing. And yes, I've had to use jiu-jitsu in the streets when I was 21, a party girl.
And it works.
And
Jiu-jitsu
it works. It works.
And from that, just from my experience as well, is it is a hell of a workout that you get from it as well. And the connection you make with the people you train with, it's like a connection you don't really find anywhere else.
There's all different walks of life. There's lawyers, there's doctors, there's students, there's people that work in the service industry, hairstylists, there's different kinds of people, but their mindset is to better you and to better themselves. Like, what more can you ask for a community? And like, people are trying to just be better, to grow, to be a better them, you know? Like, it just, jiu-jitsu is fucking awesome, you know? That's why it's growing so much. Like 10 years ago, like, I would put jiu-jitsu in the phone and it would autocorrect to something else. No one knew what jiu-jitsu was. It's huge right now for a reason.
And if anybody has questions, they want more detail about your program, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Instagram. I live in Instagram. It's Crystals _Cooper, and it's not with a K. It's CRYSTAL _Cooper. Or hit me up on Facebook.
And also, for any parents who want to find out more info of the Solid Foundation program for their teens, or any teens that are interested in checking out the program, same thing, IG, Solid Foundation program, _ in between the words, Facebook, Solid Foundation program, and you could also subscribe to our YouTube channel and click notifications so you can stay up to date with all the interviews that we'll be having along the way. And we look forward to working with people who want to come in and put the work in. Thank you.